Hi, all. Welcome back to another episode of Run Yogi Diaries. This is your host, Santosh Shiva. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Today, I have a exciting guest who is an endurance athlete of a different kind. Not the person who cycles, runs, or swims. This is the endurance athlete who sits behind a wheel. That's right, a motorsport driver. In the house is Rishon Magehalli. All of 16, he has spent the last 5 years of his life pursuing his passion for becoming a F1 Formula driver. He's on his way. Starting off as someone racing go-karts, today he races F4 category of cars or vehicles. We get behind the scenes on what keeps him going. How is he so focused, being so young? Hopefully, we take some inspiration and probably get the courage to pursue our own dreams. If you like the work I do in this channel, please remember to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share with others if you think this conversation makes a difference and inspires. And leave your comments below and let us know if you took something away. This podcast is also available on all major podcast platforms if audio is your thing. Let's begin. Hey Rishon, welcome to Run Yogi Diaries.
Yeah, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, you're the youngest guest on my show so far.
Oh, okay.
So, you're like, 16 years,
Yeah, I'm
right?
16 to go.
Yeah. Prime of teenage.
Yeah.
Awesome. But you're doing some cool stuff. And such a pleasure having you here. Obviously, you're an inspiration for your generation with what you're doing. So, yeah, we want to get into all that. So, just to get a quick introduction, you're what? Which grade now? You're like
I'm
into
in
high school now?
I'm in 11th now. Yeah.
11th now. And
And
for
yeah,
the last 5 years, you've also been pursuing
race.
racing. You started in 2017, right? As a in karting, and you've won many championships. You've placed. You've also done international racing. And last year, you started the F4 racing, the 1600cc category, which is kind of a precursor to F3, F2, F1
Yeah.
eventually, if all
Yeah.
goes well, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. It takes something for someone your age to be so focused and disciplined. So did I miss anything else as an introduction?
No, not much. You're all good.
Good. And you're also my nephew. So
Yeah.
that's why I know that you do all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, Rishon, the purpose, what we want to do is maybe do a bit of a flashback, right? We want to get into what is motor racing? How does someone your age get into something like that as an option, right? And so we'll do a bit of a flashback and then come down to your most recent accomplishment in 2021, which is F4. Uh, so, how did it all start? How did you
Yeah. I
get
mean,
into this?
from the time I was like 5, 6, I always loved cars, bikes, and everything to do with wheels is something I always enjoyed doing from the time I was really little. And then, yeah, this journey started like once I had gone to Miko Kartopia for the rentals go karting. And then there was a track manager there. And then he saw me drive. And then I was overtaking a lot of elderly people and all of that. So he's like, your son is really good at this. You should actually try to put him into professional racing and he can get a good career out of it. And then,
Hmm.
and then my dad asked me, and I was like, of course, yes. And then my dad's friend knew a team, and then so I got connected to the team. Now it's Birel Art. So then, yeah, it started in 2016 end. I started practice. 2017 was
Hmm.
my first year. It's a Rotax engine, and it's called micro categories from like 8 to I think 11 years old. So then,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, all the other people who I was racing with in my first year in karting, they were all about 3 to 4 years of experience already, and this was my first year. So it was a good challenge. But my team was an excellent team. They're like one of the best teams out there. So they really helped me with a lot of data work and to get up to speed as soon as possible. And yeah, in my first year in karting itself, I came third in the national championship,
Yeah.
which was a great feeling, because knowing I had beaten so many people who have been racing here for so many years, and I come in my first year and I beat them. That is, I felt that was a good achievement, and I was really proud of myself. And I also got
Yeah.
the best rookie of the year, 2017.
Yeah. And you were like how old that time?
I was 11.
11.
11.
11. All of 11.
Yeah,
And um, so you were also into athletics. I know that at
yeah,
that point
yeah.
you were pursuing athletics. So you kind of uh,
I was
what,
into
and you gave up
sports.
athletics at that time.
Yeah, I was into sports from like LKG or
Yeah.
kindergarten.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I loved athletics as well, running 100 meters, 200 meters. I also done state levels, got bronze. And I also like skating a lot, roller skating, inline skating. I got
Mm.
district gold in that as well. Uh, but then, yeah, once I got into professional karting, there was nothing like it. I just felt
Yeah.
at home. It just felt perfect. And yeah,
Yeah.
I still do a lot of running to keep my fitness up for racing, but not professionally or anything like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I prefer motorsport a lot more. I feel this was
Yeah.
what I was born to do compared to.
Awesome. Hey, that's so nice, isn't it? That's so. It's a blessing to find something that you can say that I was
Yeah,
born to do this. Right? Not many
yeah,
individuals have that opportunity or this early at least. Right? So that's great. So coming back to karting, right? So you went from just to have fun in
yeah,
some karting place, and then life changed. So
yeah.
how did it change? I mean, did you just accept that change as is? Because doing something for fun versus doing something to train and win, and the how did was that easy for you? What did you have to change?
I mean, when I was young, I always kept changing sports. Swimming, running, cycling, and then skating. But then once I started motor racing, go karting, it
Hmm.
just felt right. Everything just started to fall into place.
Hmm.
So it was not that difficult, but a lot of practice and a lot. You need
Hmm.
a good team, because racing is a complete team sport. If your team is not up there and you're up there, you can't win races, and it's vice versa.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So what does a team do?
I
What
mean,
does a team provide for you?
they provide the go-kart, the engine. And in go-karting it's not as simple as it looks. There are a
Hmm.
lot of changes you can make with your go-kart. And like a change of a seat but that you feel more comfortable can give you like 1/2 of a second. So
Hmm.
there are a lot of things we can use to develop your go-kart as well. There's a lot of money that's invested in it as well. And yeah, there are a lot of things you can do with your engine setup. So when all of that comes right with the driver, that's the time you're going to win.
Hmm.
You have to be in unity with your team. You have to. It's like a family. The team is like a family, like to me. So
Yeah. Yeah. So do you just? I mean, so I get that it's a team sport, and everyone needs to bring their A game, whether it is the vehicle, the car, the cart, the engine,
the
like you
driver.
said, the seat. So while all that is happening, what do you do? Where do you focus the most? What's the biggest focus for you?
So, as it is a team sport, for your team to make any development or changes, you need to give them feedback of how you feel with the cart on track. So you need
Hmm.
to, if you have a lot of oversteer where your rear steps out and you slide, that's going to cost you time and you're going to get slower. So you have to tell what changes you want to your go kart to make you feel comfortable with your kart. And you
Hmm.
need a good team to understand what your requirements are and to do them. And also, we're not perfect, so I do a lot of data work to find those 1/10 2/10 of a second. um
Hmm.
a lot with your racing line, and then a lot of things you work as a team to
Yeah.
improve
And
my
all this you were doing when you were 11 years old.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it it all felt natural to me. There was nothing I had to work
Mm.
on something. So from the time I sat in, it felt so natural that I used to learn things quite really quickly. Even my coaches
Mm.
were really impressed with the way I got back to speed, like up to speed in my first year at 11 years when everyone else started like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
First race itself, I was on par, like about two, three tenths of the leader. So
Mm.
yeah, and then it just kept getting better, better, and then my confidence just kept increasing, increasing, and yeah, and then won the national
Yeah.
championship later on.
Lovely. So what I think to someone, for the audience that's listening to this, from a what do you look for to make the difference during the race day? So I get the pre-race
Yeah,
preparation in terms of the how the vehicle is, and
yeah.
but on the race day, what is it that gives you an edge?
I mean, I just think the calmer you are, the better you drive.
Hmm,
There's a lot
hmm,
of pressure involved in racing, and you're going at about 100, 150 kilometers an hour, and you have to make decisions in split seconds. So you
hmm,
need to be really calm and composed for that. So I think the calmer one and the one who doesn't really give in to pressure is the one who actually comes out on top later on in through the race weekend.
hmm,
And yeah, you just don't think about the I don't really think about the result that I have to win, I have to win. It's like a process that if I get my few things right, the tiny things right, is when the result is automatically going to come. So when I'm in qualifying, that's when you have to
hmm.
give it your best. So I don't think about the race. It's just about one lap, how I get it done, and what I need to get that lap done. So I mean that works. That works for me, and everyone have their own way of approaching a race weekend or approaching the way they like to go about it. And yeah,
Right. So talk to us a little bit. Elaborate on your process. Like, what do you focus on?
yeah, just to get better with my driving. A lot of
Hmm.
data. So when I do the data, I just want to get that right, sorted out the next session itself. So if I'm a
So
bit
what data?
slow,
What When you say data, what do you mean? What do you mean by
so
data? What data are we talking about?
so we have a micron in a go kart, so that tells
Hmm.
you where you're braking, where you're throttling, and what your racing line is. So I
Hmm.
compare my data with my teammates' data, and I can find out, suppose in corner number 4 I am braking a bit earlier than him, so that means I'm losing more time into the corner and uh, overall lap time as well. So I focus on
Hmm.
how much more later do I have to brake to gain that time and to be faster than him or as fast as him through that corner. So a track has about
Wow.
average, I think, 12 corners. So each corner at a time, we just keep digging into the data and trying to figure out if we can go faster or if that's the maximum. And if I'm slower, how can I get that extra time? Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that's basically.
Okay. That's quite
Yeah.
that's quite amazing. And okay, so you get this data, right? But to execute it, right? What do you need to execute it? Like, for example, what my question is, what I'm trying to get to is, as someone who's never,
Yeah.
most of us who are listening to this are going to be someone people who never driven,
Mm.
raced in a go-kart. So when you know that you have to, let's say, break ahead of time or break a little later in time,
Yeah.
and you're doing this real time and high speeds,
Yeah.
what prepares you to be able to adapt so quickly? I mean, what kind of training do you do to be able to
I mean,
adapt something like this?
it's basically, I think, with the mindset. You
Hmm.
need to think you actually can break that later, because when I'm breaking at a point, I need to think that okay, I can actually break a bit more later, and then just try and execute it. It's not going to come out in your first try at all. So you
Hmm.
take about 3 4 laps to get it done, but then you just keep working on it. You make mistakes, you go in a bit too fast, then that also going to cost
Hmm.
you time. So it's just about gaining experience and having a good coach who can actually guide you through it, like what different you can do, everything. And also your fitness. You need to have a lot of endurance, because when you're going so fast at 100 kilometers per hour, and in a long race, you're going to get drained out physically, and when you get drained out physically, even your mentally, you start thinking slower, and that is going to really
Hmm.
affect your speed and your race time overall. So you need to be at your A game 100% throughout the race. So yeah, and they don't have power steering. Even Formula cars, they don't have power steering, nothing. So yeah, a lot of shoulder work, leg, because the brakes are really heavy, and yeah, your
Hmm.
neck as well, because because of the G forces at such high speed when you're turning. Yeah, when
Wow.
you
So it's
when
a
you
very physical sport.
yeah, it is very physical.
It's a very physical sport. And how many hours? So for the karting itself, right? How many hours are you
Um,
racing?
each race is about 15 laps, and
Hmm.
one lap in a track in Bangalore is about 1.2 kilometers. So it's about
Hmm.
30 odd kilometers at maximum, at maximum pace, at maximum concentration. Because racing, out of 12 corners in a racetrack, even if you get one corner wrong, you're going to lose time. And
Hmm.
racing is so competitive that the top 10 are like within 3 tenths of a second, and if you get one
Hmm.
corner wrong, you're already losing 2 tenths right there. So
Yeah.
yeah, for 15 laps at high speed, you just need to be so concentrated and be in your zone, like not think about anything else. It is challenging, especially when you towards the later stage of the race, when you're getting a bit tired, drained out
Yeah.
mentally. Yeah, so that's what I'm focusing on to improve my physical strength, my mental strength as well, you know
Right. So these 15 laps, right? To how much time does it
Around
take?
55 seconds on average
So per lap.
per lap. 1.2
Per lap.
kilometers in 55 seconds.
So
Yeah.
about in so you're really net racing for about 20 minutes, 30
Yeah.
minutes. Is that
Yeah.
right?
20 minutes in
Okay.
go-karts.
In go-karts. And
Yeah.
so is it like the format is similar to the formulas, like formula racing, like you have
Yeah.
3 days and all that,
Yeah,
or
it's
is
similar.
similar? So
Friday,
you do
Saturday, Sunday. So
Friday, Saturday,
Friday is
Sunday.
your
Okay.
official practice, and then Saturday is your qualifying and race, and Sunday also race. The
Got it.
format is the
Got it.
same, but then the time and the laps differ, and the amount of
Right.
races you drive race per round also differ.
Right. Right. Got it. Got it. So let's talk a little bit about how do you prepare, right? We talked about, you were mentioning the need to be physically strong and mentally
Yeah.
um, strong as well. So how does that happen? How do you actually prep
Um. I
physically and mentally?
Yeah. I mean, I train 6 days a week, twice a day.
Hmm.
So morning I do my physical fitness, and then evening I do my endurance, like running, cycling.
Hmm.
So yeah, and each day is a different exercise, and mainly focusing on what you need in a racetrack. Like I focus a lot on
Hmm.
my neck, shoulders,
Okay.
and the brakes are really hard. In Formula cars, it's like about 80 kgs, 100 kgs of pressure you put on one leg, and
Hmm.
a race in Formula 4 is about half an hour. So your leg really gets fatigued, and you need a braking is very important in a race car. You need to have your leg fitness needs to be up there. So yeah, a lot
Hmm.
of leg workout, neck, shoulder, and endurance is what I mainly
Wow.
focus on. Yeah.
Wow. And what
Also,
about go
and
ahead.
also your hip, because you're sitting in one position, like wrapped, you cannot move. So your hip, like for such a long time, can get tired, and you can get cramps. So I do a lot
Hmm.
of workout for my hip, glutes, everything, even your core, because
Yeah.
you're in a Formula car, you're almost in a sleeping position, so your core is like crunched a bit. So yeah,
Yeah.
that as well takes a beating in a race.
Yeah, I can only imagine if I were to be sitting in that position.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. That's a lot of you need to be fit for that.
yeah.
And what about mental fitness? How do you prep for that?
I mean, at the start it was a bit difficult, but then I don't really do a lot of preparation. It's just like a lot of juggling and all of that, just to keep your focus. Like
Hmm.
I sit on the gym ball, the big one, and I juggle
Hmm.
3 balls with that on that.
Oh.
So you get good body balance and concentration. And yeah, I mean, in a
Yeah.
race car, you just need to focus one corner at a time, one lap at a time, not think too much ahead. So
Hmm.
it just comes with experience. At the start, it was not this way, but then later on, I
Yeah.
found out better ways to go about it, and it
Yeah.
really working.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
That's quite incredible. I mean, I think for folks who are listening to this, I hope that gives an insight as a kind of a background on what does it take to be a race car driver, right? It's not
It's not
it's
as what
not
people
just
think.
learning to drive fast.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a lot of people just saying, "Why do you need to be fit in a race car? You're just driving around in circles." I mean, it's not at all that type of a case, you know. There's a lot
Yeah,
of things that go behind the scenes of everything. So,
yeah. It's fine tuned. It's fine
yeah,
tuned to that second, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
tenths of a second,
Tenths of a
milliseconds.
second. Awesome.
Yeah,
So obviously, you're working hard. You worked hard. You're working hard at it. You're highly focused on this, and results are there for you to show. Um, so to the national championship, right? That
yeah.
when did that happen? What year was that? I'm looking at
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And how was that for you?
I mean,
Going into it and then winning it.
so it was not as straightforward as it looked in the start. I mean, the first two rounds I dominated, like I won every single race. And
Yeah.
then we had the next three rounds at a single weekend, race weekend. And then what happened was I had an engine problem then. So
Ooh.
yeah, it was really tricky. But still I managed somehow to win two rounds out of that. But yeah, it was, the pressure was intense there because I had to win and I had to be in the top three, but I didn't have an engine with me to cooperate. So, and we were just not able to find out what the problem was. So I just drove all the races with the problem. And yeah, I was a bit panicked, of course, but then it all came out well at the end. So
Right.
can't complain.
And so just for the just to share this with our audience, right? So the way the point systems is basically on lap performance, correct?
No, it is every race you get certain amount of points. So
Okay.
you have four races. In go karting, two heats. So in the heats, you don't get points. It just gives you a position of where you start in your pre-final. But in your pre-final, you do, and pre-final and final is where you get your main points. So in
Hmm.
pre-final, you get about 25 points, and then in your final, you get 50. But
That is
and
if you place number one, if
number
you're number
one,
one
yeah.
in
And
each of those races.
each
Okay.
championship has its own points type.
Right, right.
Rotax is different, and then there are other engine categories, other championships, so they have their own point system. So it's not a
Right.
standard point system throughout.
Okay.
Like each championship
So
has,
in this race that you're talking about, the national championship,
yeah,
your engine was giving you trouble. So
yeah.
how did you manage to stay on top? Was there something
Um,
else that helped you?
I do believe in God, and I give Him all the glory to whatever I've achieved now in my life. And yeah, I think He was also there with me and helped me to win. Um, and then yeah, but of course, there are a lot of other things as well. Fortunately, I had a good qualifying. I qualified, I think, fifth with an engine issue, and then in the race, I was able to make some overtaking maneuvers, everything, and
Hmm.
yeah, I did win that race. So looking back at it now, not much to complain, but at the time, it was horror because I had to place in the top three, top two, and then I was like nowhere in the pace. I think
Hmm.
I was just fortunate to win that race. I was about two, three tenths off the pace at that race. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
um,
So what I'm trying to get at is like your engine was not performing to where it was supposed to perform,
yeah,
but yet you seem to have pulled off
yeah,
the win. So from a technical point of view, right? So what I'm hearing is that you're able to do some maneuvers which kind of
it helped.
helped you
Yeah,
get to win.
yeah,
So the point being that engine is not everything, right? I mean, in the
yeah,
sense that in any sport, we there are multiple factors
yeah,
that come in to win, and so if one does not function to its peak,
yeah,
you then depend on a few other things to win.
yeah,
So it's not
yeah,
that's what I was trying to get to in terms of what else was there, and that, I guess it's the maneuver that you talked about, right?
yeah. I mean, an engine can go really bad and it can stay okayish. So mine was more of okayish to really bad. Like I had good exit speed, but then in the top speed I had nothing. So
Hmm.
I with that exit speed I was just able, and I had about 3 years of experience in racing. So with that exit speed, I was able to like change the way I approach a corner to get the maximum out of what I had. So
What is
even
exit speed? When you
like
say exit
when
speed?
you go on the gas, when you go on the throttle, the power you initial power you get, that's the exit speed.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I had good exit speed, but then the top speed, when you're on full throttle and going, my top speed was really bad. So like
Hmm.
people, even though I make an overtake in the main straight where the straight is big, they used to just overtake me like this. So
Hmm.
again in a corner I had to, brake really late and overtake. So yeah, it went
Interesting.
well.
Yeah, yeah, that's the game, right? It's like any sport. There are multiple maneuvers that you have. One is top speed,
Yeah,
sheer performance, sheer power, and then there are these nuanced skills that you need to have
yeah,
to win a game, right?
yeah,
Whether you take motorsport, you take soccer, you take tennis, you take any sport. There are multiple nuances that a player uses to win, and that's what I guess
yeah.
I'm kind of hearing here, right?
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah, and I think the cornering and maneuvering, as though those are huge skills as a driver, correct?
Yeah, I
Just
mean
the ability to.
those really can't be taught. It's something that comes
Hmm,
naturally. Because
hmm,
overtaking is something that you need to be brave enough and you need to back yourself to make that move. Somebody
hmm,
can't just come and teach you that you have to overtake like this or like that. It's something for me, from the first race in my career. I've been always strong in overtaking. So fortunately, that also
hmm.
helped for me.
Yeah,
Like not everybody can continuously do a lot of overtaking maneuvers as well. So fortunately for me, I never had a problem with wheel to wheel racing or overtaking. It was something I was good at from the time they put me in a go kart and made me race. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that also really helped.
Yeah. And we're talking about fairly limited space where you're doing this maneuver. So it's,
Yeah,
I think what I'm hearing is that you
I
need
mean,
to have the courage to take some chances,
yeah,
and it comes down to just your
your
how
natural
you
instinct,
feel,
of where
instinct.
the guy in front of you is going to go and where you have to go to make that move.
Hmm.
There are a lot of ways to make a single overtake. It's not just straightforward
Yeah.
going and overtaking. There are a lot of things you can do, like dumbing a person into going to somewhere else, and then you can make the move easier. So
Wow.
there are a lot of complications to overtake.
Nuances.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean,
yeah,
so it's almost like in a ball game, right? Like tennis, or
yeah,
let's say even for cricket, for example, just knowing where the ball is going to
yeah.
move
Exactly. Yeah,
helps a batsman or a tennis player to move there, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so it is almost like like an analogy.
yeah,
Just wow, that is so
yeah,
awesome, right? That's and you're saying that that cannot be learned.
yeah. Because a lot of people just they struggle a lot to overtake.
Hmm,
I don't know why that is because I have always been good at it. But yeah, I mean, it just for me it came
got it.
naturally. No one had to like I didn't have to get taught to do it or anything. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But also
Terrific.
you get better with experience. You make wiser
Yeah,
decisions and you know when to make a move with experience. Of course, starting I would have made a bit mistakes and having contact with your other racing driver, but that's how you learn. And yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
now
Terrific. And so moving forward, last year, 2021, you moved up in category. You moved up to an F4,
yeah,
which is so for folks who are listening, this is your journey. This is how you progress
yeah.
from karting. Then you
Before
go to F4, then F3, F2, F1. Correct.
yeah, yeah.
So so now you're in F4. You got behind a 1600 cc, a larger vehicle.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. How was that for you?
It was a big step up from karting, of course.
Hmm.
Like you have to do a lot of changes again to your driving style, and a lot of
Hmm.
data work to know how to get comfortable with your car and to just be faster. I mean, I mean, those you're wrapped in a seat and you're like almost sleeping while driving, and you don't have
Mm.
much eyesight. So the when I'm turning, my hand comes in front of my face, so it's like very little is what you can see. And the
Mm.
speeds are of course higher, and the way the car handles, the car feels is a lot different. It's a lot bigger, of course. So
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of changes I had to make to my driving style, a lot of that make help you to get faster. And yeah, I had a good coach as well, who really helped me through the process. And yeah,
Mm.
I mean, I done a lot of years in karting, and the karting is like the beginning to anything in motorsport. So the
Mm.
base was set, like it was good.
Mm.
So that of course helped me a lot to get up to speed a lot faster in a single seater car as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Then
uh, in terms of size of engine, and just to give a get a sense of, so the go kart engine size is what? How big are those engines?
I mean, it's like this big.
Yeah, like in terms of CCs, like what,
um
like
um
fine.
CC, it's about 30 bhp brake horsepower.
Okay, so from a 30 bhp engine, now you're going to a 1600
That's about
cc engine.
140
What's
bhp.
140? So almost three times as powerful
Yeah.
engine.
Mm.
So your speeds, in terms of a sense of speed, give us a sense of on in what are we talking about?
I mean, speed. I mean, I was never afraid of speed, so I really didn't have a problem with the faster car. Of course, it
Hmm.
took some time to get used to how you approach corners, because you're approaching corners from karting at about 100 kilometers to this at 180 kilometers per hour.
Hmm.
So
Got it.
you have to just get used to the way the car handles, the way the car brakes, and a single seater is manual, and a go kart is automatic. So, and I'd never
Okay.
driven a manual before, so that also I had to start adapting and learning. It was good fun. I really enjoyed the process, because there's nothing better than finding and going digging deep just to find like 2/10 of a second, because that can
Hmm.
make all the difference in a championship, in a race, and everything. So yeah, first race I got, I think, a podium in my first round in single seater. So it was a good start to my single seater career, and
Hmm.
then made progresses throughout, and then ended up in the last round with 2 out of 3 race wins in single seater, and that helped me get third in the national championship in my first year in single seater, which was, I think, a good achievement, and I was really proud of it.
That's
That was
amazing. And this is the MRF Open
yeah,
wheel racing, right?
yeah.
This happens in Chennai,
It happens in Chennai.
right?
It's not only single seater. They also have other cars. Like they have saloon cars, where these are your stock Honda Cities and all of that. They bring
Hmm.
them to race, because in motorsport it's not only go karting, Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1. There are a lot of
Hmm.
other races as well, like IndyCar, GT racing, Le Mans, everything. So yeah, it's just about what you want to do. And I
Yeah.
mean, my dream was always to become a Formula 1 racer. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I'm I'm in Formula 4, but a lot of other people like cars,
Yeah.
like you drive a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a race car. So
Hmm.
a lot of those things as well. So
Yeah.
we have something
Yeah.
called an LGB saloon, and then an ITC class, and then a 1600 as well. So they have a lot of races in like through a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Awesome. So, in terms of coming back to your experience on the F4, I know you've been already focused on being physically fit and mentally fit to ride go kart. Did that also have to scale once you moved to the 1600 cc? Did
Yeah,
that kind
definitely.
of have to increase?
Definitely. Because in 1600 you're going a lot faster, a lot more
Hmm.
G's. Your brakes are a lot harder.
Hmm.
And your steering wheel, because you're going through corners at about 120, 100 kilometers per hour in a Formula 4
Hmm.
car.
Hmm.
So and there's no power steering. So your shoulders
Hmm.
really take a beating in those long corners. I mean, personally, when I went for the first round of the race, I was not fit enough. Like
Mm.
coming out of, even though I've been into sports since the like since I was in LKG. I
Yeah.
come out for car and I was feeling dizzy. Like I used to tell my
Mm.
dad, as soon as I come out, I want a bottle of water ready, because I was dizzy, my shoulders were paining, my neck was paining. So then that's when I really like, okay, this is a big step and I really need to work a lot harder. And throughout the
Yeah.
season, I worked a lot harder with my gym trainer, a lot more longer sessions. From 1 hour, my gym sessions in the morning became like about two. So,
Mm.
I mean, a lot of work done. And that, of course, helped later on as well, because I wasn't getting fatigued while driving, and I could get those consistent lap times throughout the whole race,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
also helped for the wins and the third in the
Makes
championship.
sense. Makes sense. And you also raced internationally, right? You
Yeah,
were traveling to Italy.
yeah.
How was that experience for you? Was it significantly different from how you were racing
In
in India?
Yeah, racing over there is a lot more different. There's a different engine. It's called an OKJ engine over there.
Mm.
The carts over there are a lot more faster. The surface of the track also is a lot different, and in each
Hmm.
different surface, you have to get a different cart set up, everything. So, and I went there when I was, I would think, 12 or 13 years
Mm.
old. So I was yet not experienced enough, I feel. But then I got a lot of experience going there, racing with people who have been racing for so many years. The competition over there is so much more intense.
Mm.
One mistake and you lose like 5 positions in one corner. So
Mm.
that I learned a lot. I learned a lot in my driver, like the way I overtake, the way I approach weekends, approach everything changed when I went internationally, and that
Mm.
really helped me become a better racing driver, and gave me a lot more experience, a lot more confidence as well, and that ultimately helped me do a lot better in India as well. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it was, yeah, when I was 12 years old when I went
Yeah.
internationally.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And do you look at someone, any race car driver that you idolize? Like,
Yeah,
hey,
not an idol. I just like admire them. I look
hmm,
up to them, and I
mm,
like to imitate what they do as well sometimes.
yeah,
Lewis Hamilton and Ayrton Senna. These are my two
mm,
favorite drivers.
yeah,
Yeah, their aggression and everything. It just, yeah, I like to just be like how they were as well. The way
yeah,
they
yeah.
drive, I just like to drive like that.
And what about? So, are there who do you look up to in within India itself? Right? Is there
Um,
somebody you say, wow, that driver is like making huge progress in the
yeah, I
formula?
mean, Kush Maini, Arjun Maini, they've
Mm,
been racing since a long, long time. Even Naren Karthikeyan,
mm,
he was the only Indian to be in Formula One. So
right, right.
yeah, they have a lot of experience, and their driving is just unbelievable. And I mean, Kush and Arjun, they also drove a bit of karting last year, and yeah, I
Hmm.
was looking at them. I was also changing the way I drive and trying to do what they do, and it really helped as well. So
Yeah.
they are someone who I really look up to in Indian motorsport.
So I know Narayan Karthikeyan is a huge name, right? And I think for folks who are not also following
Yeah.
motorsport, know Narayan Karthikeyan.
Mm.
So do you get to do they come and give talks, or do they mentor in any way the upcoming drivers?
I mean, I haven't really spoken to them.
Mm,
So but they do help. I mean, I've spoken to
mm,
Arjun and Kushmani. I mean,
mm,
and they have. I've not really asked them about. I've never asked them for tips, but then they have. Yeah, I just ask them, like, I just look at the way they drive and then just change my driving
yeah.
style accordingly. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Some kind of an support ecosystem, so you can get better from other people's
yeah,
success as well, right? I mean, it happens in all sport. Suddenly, if you see in India badminton,
yeah,
huge explosion in success because that ecosystem gets built, right? It's not just about one individual, but it's a whole system that gets built so others can be successful. So I was kind of trying to figure out
Mm.
if that's happening in motorsport in India as well. Awesome. So, so you obviously you're you're mid-teens. You've been doing this for passionately for the past 5 years. How do you balance things like your studies and
I
social
mean,
life and training? How do you balance all of that to be a
for the
normal teenager? How do you manage?
it's not that easy, especially the studies part, because when you go for a practice session, it is not like an hour or two; it's the whole day.
Hmm.
So you miss a
Hmm.
lot of studies, a lot of school. When I started, of course, I was in school, but then when I really took it to another level, when I started doing internationally, it was really difficult to keep up with school, the assignments, and everything. So we decided to do open schooling. It's like a type of homeschooling.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, I did my 10th open schooling. So now it is not that big of a burden because I don't really have to study
Hmm.
much. But yeah, when I was, it was really difficult because I get up in the morning, go to school, and then from school directly to the gym, and then gym home, and then study.
Yeah.
So you can't really play that much with your friends as well because at that
Yeah.
age it was difficult. But then I soon got used to it, and to achieve something you always have to sacrifice a lot as well. So it was
Hmm.
fine. Yeah.
So where do you get that wisdom from?
Uh, my mom, she really
Hmm.
tells me a lot. Like one thing that really stuck to my head from what she has told me is the battle
Hmm.
is always won in the mind. I mean,
Wow.
and that is really true because when no matter what you do, but in your mind you don't believe that you can win, you don't
Hmm.
believe that you can accomplish it, you don't believe you can beat him, you won't be able to.
Yeah.
So she used to
Yeah.
tell me this from the time I was really little. In my even my running, the battle is won in your mind. You need to be
Hmm.
really strong in your mind, and that's really stuck to me even till now. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. That's so beautiful. And also, you said about for someone at your age to know that you have to make some sacrifices for something bigger
yeah.
doesn't come naturally to all people your age, right? So that's so. Where did you get that from? How did you realize that?
A lot of YouTube videos as well. Those inspirational videos. Yeah,
Yeah.
watching them, understood. And even my mom, she kept telling me, "You can't
Yeah.
go around playing with your friends and then go and try and achieve big things." You know,
Yeah.
when you are professional and you want to do something as a career, you
Yeah.
you can't be completely normal. You need to make a lot of
Yeah.
sacrifices, a lot of different changes in your lifestyle. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Great
those.
message. I hope all young people and older people alike can take that wonderful words of wisdom from you. That's very inspiring because I think what I hear is uh, you're committed to you making your dream come true, which
Yeah,
is you're on your dream is to be a Formula One race driver, and it's a long multi-year journey. You
yeah,
have to be at it
yeah,
day in day out, year in year out,
yeah,
uh, and that's how you get there. And to realize that uh, to make that dream come true, there are small sacrifices to make in the short term.
yeah.
Um, you know
Will help.
that's a wonderful realization for
Yeah,
anyone.
yeah.
Terrific. So what next?
So now this year end, there's Formula 4 coming to India. So the one that's there abroad. It's not the F1600. It is a more powerful
Hmm.
one. So that is
Hmm.
coming to India, and we're planning to do that. And of course, a lot of practice before that.
Hmm.
And from there on, we work. Planning to go internationally as well for Formula 4, and then
Hmm.
make my step up to Formula 3. Maybe next year, next year. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah, we wish and we wish the best for you. So you continue to have the focus, the wisdom, and the energy, and to pursue and keep doing well in your journey.
Thank
We kind
you.
of covered quite a fair bit of ground in terms of how you got here.
Yeah.
I do have a fun Q&A round for all my guests in the last part of my conversation. So you ready for that?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. You know, people who come on my show are mostly uh, athletes of different kinds, and this is the first time I've had an athlete, a motorsport athlete. I mean, you're an athlete in a way, right? Uh, so one of the things that is important for all athletes is food. Uh, you know, uh, so I have a few questions around that. So first of all, what's your favorite dessert or an indulgence,
Dessert.
food wise?
I think chocolava and a lot of ice cream. I love ice cream.
You love ice cream.
I love.
Does your coach tell you to restrict it while you're training?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. But then once a week, twice a week, just I have to.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And a food that you don't like.
I don't like vegetarian food. And
No
my
vegetables.
dietitian, yeah, she just the torture to have like a salad. It's like even my mom just keeps forcing me, you have to have it, but then yeah, I just have to, but then I hate it. I hate every bit of it.
Okay. All vegetables? You don't
Yeah,
like any vegetable?
I don't like vegetables, no. Like
Okay,
except
okay.
cucumber, no.
Got it. How do you react when people compliment you on what you've done?
I mean, I don't get too happy. It's just thank you and grateful.
Mhm.
I like to stay neutral. Like, don't get too happy
Mm,
when someone talks good about you, and don't get too sad when someone talks bad about you. It's just I'm thankful and
e-
grateful for them, but
mm.
nothing like
Got it, got it. Just staying even keel.
yeah.
That's very wise. That's
Mm.
very wise. Um, Books or movies? What's your thing?
Uh, I don't read. I don't. None of them. I don't. But I
Neither.
like movies more than books. Neither. But then movies more.
Movies more than books.
Yeah. I don't.
So, any, go ahead.
I don't really watch movies as well. So like any movie that just comes up, I just go with my friends because they force me to. I don't have a
Okay, okay,
favorite movie or anything. It's just movies better
okay,
than books, but neither.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, where do you get your inspirations from? On like people either read books or maybe watch movies. I know you said we watch a lot of YouTube videos
Yeah.
to get inspired. Any particular
I mean,
personality or uh, that specifically inspires you?
no, not really. I mean, I just like it just comes up in my feed. I just look at it like, but then yeah, my mother, like she
Hmm.
has a lot. Like she keeps telling me a lot of things, and that really helps.
Hmm.
So my parents definitely.
Awesome.
I really look
Yeah,
up to
that's
them.
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, that's very beautiful, Rishon. I think uh, for a lot of young people who are listening to this as well, right? The relationship with your parents and what inspiration you're drawing from them is huge. I mean, it's a wise thing. You're a wise guy. You're definitely using what you have as resource in your life, to forward yourself. So that's fantastic. Well, that was a great conversation. You did well in the Q&A round as well. We learned a few more things about you. Hey, by the way, music. Do you listen to music? Is music a thing for you?
I mean, not much, just here and there sometimes.
Okay, so you are consumed by being a race car driver. That's great. That's great. That's called focus. Terrific. So coming to a wrap up here, Rishon, and before we wrap up, is there any wrap up message you want to give to our audience?
um, just believe in yourself and anything you want to do. Because as I said, there's nothing. The battle is won in your mind. Be
Hmm.
strong in your mind, and I think anything is possible if you work towards it. Put your heart and soul towards it, and try and be the best possible person as you are. I think, yeah, I'm also trying to
Terrific.
do that as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's so. you know, so nice to hear that from a young person like you, and that's the kind of energy the world needs, and that's the kind of you know, hope and inspiration the world needs. So continue inspiring, Rishon, both for
Thank
yourself
you.
and others. And I'll let you go and have enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll stay in touch, of course.
Yeah. Thank you. It was a pleasure to be
Right.
here.
Bye.
Bye.